Welcome back, everybody. Browns Film Breakdown. I think we're on episode 26 now. We've done these all year. My usual, what I'm just going to call my co-host because he jumps on all of these with me now pretty much. Brendan, how you doing, man?
Doing good, man. How about you?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. So we want to walk you through some of Tampa Bay's 2018 offense. They had a record-setting beginning of the year under Todd Monken, and they finished strong. Like, it wasn't a flash in the pan 2 weeks. They had a good season. And got the most out of Ryan Fitzpatrick. And I thought towards the end of the year, I think Jameis Winston had 13 touchdowns, only 4. So ended the year better. So we want to talk to you guys a little bit of scheme stuff with Todd Monken's offense, which is a blend of the Air Coryell and the Air Raid. And let's do it, Brendan. Let's jump in quick, man. We'll jump into their opener against the Saints. So 1st and 10 play. They love to throw out a 1st and 10, as both of us have highlighted. And let's walk through scheme. Let's do it.
Yeah, so it's a 3-by-1 set. Looks like the safeties for the Saints are rotating here just before the snap.
Yep.
So they go play action. And now this turns into a high-low on the corner at the bottom of the screen. We've got an out route by the number 1 receiver at the bottom. So that's going to take the corner. The corner's going to run with him to the sideline. And then you've got Deshaun Jackson running. So he releases inside. That safety comes down toward the play-action fake. Also, he's covering underneath anyway, so he's not going to be able to run with him. So really this puts the free safety in a bind because he has to run with Deshaun Jackson at this point. He's obviously got great speed, and the corner's out of there because he covered the out. So great ball by Fitzpatrick, and it turns into a long touchdown.
Yeah, I think that we used to call this route by Jackson a banana route back in the day. Some people call it a Ray route. But yeah, the bind here against this cover 3 look right on this, the safety here at the top of the screen against Marcus Williams bites on that dig for a split second, and they threw the ball to Deshaun Jackson over the top quite a bit. And I would imagine that's a role that they hope they get something similar from Antonio Callaway or Brashad Perriman, both of those guys. If you're going to send those guys deep, it's good to have depth there, right? But what's fun about this offense, and Brendan will talk about it, is just how much they run play action. And the air raid staple is from the gun, right, traditionally, Brendan?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, typically those teams play more from the gun, but what I noticed watching Tampa Bay is they did a lot of deep drops off play action, very similar to what Kitchens has done in Cleveland. I just think that the two coaches, they really mesh well together, and I think that they'll probably both grow together. I think Kitchens will learn a lot of things from Monken, and Monken will probably learn a lot of things from Kitchens. So it'll really benefit those two guys, and it's also really going to benefit Baker Mayfield also.
I would agree, especially the guy who likes to drive the ball downfield and be aggressive. Well, let's switch to 4 verticals now. This is a staple of both offenses, really, and it was a staple of what the Browns did in 2018 in Freddie's 9 games. So talk to me about the tweak by number 2 and inside 2 and 3 here.
Yeah, so what they're going to do on this play is it's a pick route. So the number 2 receiver is going to pick the defender that's in press man-to-man over number 3. You can see that defender just walked down over number 2. It's clearly cover 1. So this is man across the board underneath, free safety deep in the middle of the field. And that number 2 receiver runs at the high shoulder of that defender over number 3. And it creates just enough of a rub to get separation, allows him to get a step on that defender, and then a great ball by Fitzpatrick to fit it in there before the free safety can come in and make a hit on that receiver.
Right, big part of air raid offenses are rubs and meshes and all of that good stuff. And, yeah, that was a big part of what Tampa Bay did last year. That principle certainly carried over. It's really a great catch. Good ball, too. I think – what was it – I think you talked to me about this. The first 2 games, what did Fitzpatrick do? He set some sort of record, right? 2 great.
Yeah, So it was a Pro Football Focus record. He broke the record for PFF grade for a quarterback in a 2-game stretch.
Jesus,
in these
that's
2 games.
Crazy. Yeah, and we'll cover the Eagles game, some of the Eagles throws here in a little bit, but they started out on fire. I thought they had a lull in the middle of the year, and then they caught fire again there late. Yeah, let's talk here play action again. A staple of, I think, what Tampa Bay, I didn't see all of the season, but in the games that I saw, they love to do this split zone play action. So they'll send this tight end here cross to the backside, similar to what the Browns do, where they let a guard, and Tampa Bay does the guard pull too, to sell run action. But they're going to send the tight end to the backside to block the defensive end and run play action off of it. This is something the Browns did a couple times. I think they opened the Atlanta game with this, where they ran a little stretch play action and threw the backside. This looks like a dig, right, Brendan?
Yep. Yeah, so this is single high cover 3 once again. So you see that deep safety in the middle of the field. Mm-hmm. They do that play action fake. It's just a quick fake. He gets around quick, plants that back foot in the ground and gets the ball out. You can see the flat defender at the bottom of the screen. He is occupied by that flat route really quickly and also the run action. And it results in a huge window. Those inside linebackers come downhill toward the run, and it's just an enormous window with the corner over the top and the safety in the deep middle of the field. Yeah. So Fitzpatrick hits this in stride, and it's a great play.
Yeah, it just takes Demario Davis here, 56, old Browns face, who had a heck of a year, just biting inside. And talk to these people about – let me ask you a commonly asked question, Brendan. Do you need to establish the run to run play action successfully? Let me ask you that.
No. The numbers actually show that there's no correlation between the two. Like my friends at PFF, some of my friends at PFF like to say is the run has been established for 100 years with linebacker coaches teaching their linebackers to read their run keys. So when they see run, they're going to come downhill, sometimes more than others, but they will come downhill. It's been proven with stats. So, no, you don't have to run the ball early in the game to set up play action. You can come out throwing play action on first and second downs on the first, second, third drive of the game. It doesn't matter. And there's also no correlation between run game success and play action success, and there's also no correlation between run game frequency and play action success either. And this has all been proven out with statistics.
Yeah, and that's something LA does a lot, right, under McVay. And I thought that was something that obviously Monken was on the forefront of too, right? Early down throwing off of play action. And Tampa Bay wasn't, I don't know, they were one of the 5 worst rushing teams in the NFL, right? I mean, I don't think that they produced very well in the run game. There are reasons for that. But, yeah, they ran play action pretty successfully, and they didn't necessarily have a great run game by any stretch. So, that is something I expect the Browns to do. They did a lot of it under Freddie, but I think they'll continue to do more of it between these two, meshing their concepts. So last clip from the Saints game, Mills, right? Common concept the Browns ran for a couple touchdowns this year against the Ravens, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, so this is a great quarters beater. So we're going to have the tight end so the tight end's going to stay in protection, so it's a 6-man protection. We're going to have the 2 receivers at the bottom of the screen. The number 2 receiver is going to release inside. He runs the dig route that occupies the safety at the bottom. And then Deshaun Jackson's at the bottom of the screen as the number 1 receiver. He runs the post over the top, does a great job of pressing the corner's toes, giving him a step outside and then cutting across his face just to make it an easier throw on the quarterback.
Brendan's talking about pressing the toes. That's right here at the very top of the route. So pay attention to his angle, press the toes like Brendan said, stick the foot outside to sell him, and boom, you're back inside. It's over. I think that's something Callaway and Perriman can do that. I think those are 2 guys that have the ability to run downfield and make those plays. And they proved it this year. And I expect they'll run this scheme quite frequently against cover 4 teams next year. Yeah, so we're now into Philly, and it is another rub concept that I really like. It is landmark throw. Let's go ahead and go through it. So you get another 3x1. 3x1 bunch is frequent. They run it all the time, and that's an air raid staple, bunching some people together, making things difficult. I think what this play is fascinating for with me, you're going to get that exchange release, right? You're going to get that inside-outside. We're going to go through it. It's almost a verticals concept, right? What do you think?
Yeah, so it basically turns into 4 verts, and they switch the releases. It looks like single high coverage. That might be a safety at the top of the screen that's got eyes on the running back, but clearly there's nobody in that deep quarter of the field, really. Because I would consider this almost like quarters, it looks like, with the way that safety in the middle of the field is being so nosy to the trip side, but nobody's there in that vacated window. And Fitzpatrick does a great job of moving to his left and finding him.
Yeah, I love that you really wouldn't have a four verts inside the 10-yard line called very often, but it is just a landmark throw. Like, you're teaching your receivers to hit certain landmarks. We used to call this, we called it Vegas. For some reason, that was our tag name for it. But if we wanted these two to switch, we would just call Vegas switch, and the inside two would switch. And it causes some confusion, right? Eyes go out here on the switch for a split second, and he doesn't cover through, and he's going to open grass, which is another staple, and it's a touchdown ball. It's causing confusion, right? That's the purpose of these systems that we're seeing so popular these days.
Yeah, another issue on this play is that both linebackers have their eyes on the running back. What could have happened here is that strong safety could have dropped down and covered the back, and that linebacker needs to get more depth to get underneath that route. Mm-hmm. If that deep middle of the field player is going to play it that way, that's what needs to happen. But clearly on this play, that linebacker ends up in no man's land. We saw a lot of that in Cleveland the past 2 years, and there's a guy dancing in the end zone with a football.
Yep. Hopefully we see less of it next year. So, last one I think here is a scheme that we just talked about, right? So they're going to run something you guys should feel looks pretty similar. They're going to get down blocks off this tight end side. They're going to get a pulling guard, right? Pulling guard takes care of what turns into the play side defensive end here, right? Get a guard, and the Browns, two of their better pass blockers are guards, so it makes sense to get them on a defensive end. And then it's just whatever scheme you want to pair with it, right, Brendan? You can run mirrored routes, you can run deep concepts, and this is what makes this scheme fun, is it provides good. The Browns max protected out of this too. I know that they would keep a tight end in, and they would keep a back end off the play action, right?
Yeah, so it looks like two end routes in the middle of the field from the number 2 and number 3 receivers at the top of the screen, and then both number 1 receivers on the outsides. They're just going to run comeback routes. So they press the toes of the corner, and then once they get him to flip his hips, they're going to come directly back to the sideline, accelerate toward the sideline, back to the ball.
18 to 15, sometimes tagged 15 to 12, right? Those are common depths. It's all depending on
in the NFL, I know they just really press those corners. They get those guys out of there. I've even seen them run comeback routes all the way down to 25 yards before. In the NFL, it's a pretty different monster from college and high school a lot of times on those comebacks.
Yep. So, get them to flip right there, fire the feet. And it's got to be a good ball, and that's a good ball by Fitzpatrick here, right? Turning.
Yeah, really I think something that's stood out on these clips too is Fitzpatrick's he was well coached with his eye use. That might have been Monken, it might have been other guys. It was probably a combination of all of his coaches, but I think he's done a great job on these clips. We haven't really talked about it up to this point, but of, looking down the middle of the field when he gets to the top of his drop, then flipping his eyes to wherever he's reading on the field, because you're trying to hold safeties in the middle of the field. You don't want them to be cheating. You don't want linebackers to be cheating. You want to see, like right here, for example, holds that safety for a split second so that he doesn't cheat over toward Jackson, and then he lets the ball rip right off one hitch there, ball's out. And
that's something I'd like to see Mayfield do a little more of in year 2 as the game sort of slows down and he masters an offense, is more of this eye hold manipulation to open up a receiver, and I think he will do that. So guys, this was a taste. This is a taste of what Monken will bring to hopefully what was a pretty dynamic offense under Freddie Kitchens. I think that Brendan and I have had a lot of discourse about this being a great fit. I hope you guys do too. I wrote an article on Cleveland.com about the fit and how it all meshes together. And I just think it's going to be a good marriage. Brendan, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I'm really excited about those two guys working together, no matter how long they are together, because you never know when Monken could leave for a head coaching job in the future. I don't think that's anything that we should be worried about. Any time that those two great football minds can work together, whether it's 1 year, 2 years, I think it's going to benefit both of them long term. It's going to benefit the Browns long term. So we should just be grateful that Todd Monken's in the building for as long as we have him.
Yep, I agree completely. It'll help both of their careers. So in general, it's a great staff being built that seems to, I don't know. I don't know how many more names they can add. It seems like every day the past week it's been a great addition. So it seems like it's a pretty complete staff at this point. A lot of exciting times ahead, guys. We will probably start shifting to prospects in the next few weeks, maybe some free agency targets. We will keep you guys in the loop, but there will be more film breakdowns to come throughout the offseason. Hope you guys are enjoying them. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you can. We always appreciate that. Follow the Browns Film Breakdown Twitter handle at Browns Film BDN. Brendan's on there doing some cut-ups, voiceover stuff too. He's got an awesome opportunity at USA football, right? You're going to be doing a little bit more stuff there too, which is awesome. That's a great link for tools. He's one of the best football teachers I know, so read his stuff. Otherwise, guys, we will be back probably next week at some point. Until then, go Browns.
Go Browns.